Well, I'll tell you exactly what it was. It was actually Eruption. And I was like, a friend of mine played it for me, and I'm like, what is that? I thought it was like a keyboard. I could, but at times it sounded like a guitar. And I was just like, this is incredible. It's like, is someone playing that, or is it like a recording of something? I didn't even know what to make of it. You know what I mean? So, and I'm sure every guitar player who's an Eddie Van Halen fan probably thought the same thing as well too.
Yeah, it's funny how influential that instrumental track is. It's one of the
Oh,
most famous instrumental tracks. It popularized that style of guitar, which is like, two-hand tapping. And
yep.
in one of the prior interviews I did with I Mother Earth bass player Chuck Daly, he
Mhm.
mentioned he talked all about Van Halen, and he was saying at the end when I asked, do you have any advice for your 10-year-old self? His response was, um, I would have told myself that it is possible to play Eruption, that he had a guitar teacher that said no, like no one but him can play that. So he just kind of gave up, that some things aren't possible to play on guitar. And he said, I would tell him, and I would tell all my future students, that a human being played that, and you can also play that if you practice enough. That's how big of a difference that Eruption made for guitarists growing up.
And the thing is too with Eruption too is I've heard a lot of guys play it. I've heard a lot of guys play it, and they play it really well. But there's something about the way Van Halen plays it that's just a little bit different. I mean, I know he created it, but yeah, there's just something about the way he does it, man. He does it. He's just amazing. He was amazing.
Yeah, and what's wild is that wasn't supposed to be on the album. That was just like a riff that he would play live sometimes. And
Yeah.
rumor has it that the producer just heard him sitting there jamming it while they were in the studio, and he said that should be on the album. And
Sure.
when the final take that you hear, that as Eruption, was him, he just kind of played it and didn't know it was being recorded. And to this day, before he passed away, he would say, um, there's a mistake right off the top. Like, if I had known that we were recording it and it would be on the album, I would have done it
Right.
different. So that's what he's saying about what's considered like the greatest guitar solo of all time, the greatest instrumental thing of all time, is it was just in the moment and there's mistakes. And yeah.
It's crazy how that happens and how that came to be. But Ted Templeman was the one who produced that record, and he deserves a lot of credit for putting that on the record, because that was that changed the whole game right there as far as guitar playing goes, rather.
Yeah, I've heard that between this debut album from Van Halen, his guitar playing on the album, the song Eruption, between that and then we have Ozzy Osbourne with Randy Rhoads, between
Mm,
those two albums and those two guitarists around
yes,
the same time, that they were the ones that popularized that form of guitar playing with the tapping. And
they sure did. Yes, yeah,
what a 1-2 punch, eh? Those two guys coming out,
absolutely.
78, between 78 and 80.
Yeah, I know, crazy.